the meeting of Rama with Vali, Hanuman, and all those Vanara. Vanara andre the monkey kingdom. Actually, I think the name of that species, uh, Valmiki Ramayana by Bannanji Govindacharya, somebody has coined it as Ramapithecus, some species. It is not the ordinary monkeys which we see around, not the chimpanzees also. Special species which were higher in intelligence and which could communicate, particularly Hanuman's the documentation of Hanuman and Rama's conversations. They speak a lot about Hanuman's evolution, which goes beyond human, though he is assuming the form of a monkey. So they have called that species as something different. Maybe we should do more research on the history of these species and their, what is that called as entomology and all that. So there's a lot to know more. This Ramayana is more deeper than what it appears to be. So we have seen how Rama converses with Hanuman in the Kishkindha forest, and they have an agreement, and he helps Sugriva to get back his wife by fighting with Vali. We have seen that Ravana and Vali were friends. They share similar Asuri nature, demoniac, and therefore Rama decides to take the side of Sugriva, and Sugriva tells him that we, along with all our people, will help you to get Sita back from Ravana's clutches. And that's how they march towards Lanka. As they come towards the southern region of India, tip of that place, there they find it's very difficult to cross, and we know that the entire, a group of these monkeys, they help in building Ram Setu. They carry the stones and they make a bridge there, which is called as Ram Setu, and then they cross and enter Lanka. As they enter Lanka, Lanka is a very, very beautiful city. Lanka was a beautiful city, a lot of trees, gardens, and greenery, and very, very lush, scenery was there. But what is the use? Ravana is a great, he's a demon and demoniac. Actually, he's a Brahmana by Varna. He's a Brahmana, but his mind is totally like Asuri Bhava, Rakshas Bhava, demoniac. So these monkeys, they get onto the land and they start destroying everything. And once Ravana comes to know, he and his team, they come to know about this entry of this, this army, and they find it very difficult to accept that Rama has brought an army of monkeys. And then, in spite of that, they know that this cannot be an ordinary team. So Ravana sends Kumbha, Dhumraksha, Durmukha, Suranta, Nirantaka, and his son Indrajit. Indrajit is name of Ravana's son. Prahasta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna, we know he is known for his, very long sleep, but he gets up during this time. We'll not get into those details. So he sends his army of these people first. Normally they don't go directly. And Rama, along with who are all there now, Lakshmana, of course, is there. Sugriva is there. Hanuman is there. Then Gandhamada, Neela, Angada. Angada is son of Vali. And Jambavan and Panasa and other monkey chiefs. They all face these Rakshasas. Very surprising. These are not as well built as them. They are small monkeys actually. They are they are not like our ordinary monkeys. They say they were a little better statured, but not to compete with these Rakshasas. But what happens is they were also well equipped with swords, tridents, bows, arrows, darts, double-edged, everything. They had lot of weapons with them. And Rama was with them, isn't it? Just like the Pandavas, uh, they had a smaller army, compared to the Kauravas. But with them was Krishna. That's how the Pauranics and the great people describe. These people also small to look at, but they had Rama. So whenever weakness is there, if there is a presence of divinity, then nobody needs to fear. Nobody needs to think that we are small or we are not competent. It cannot be. The devotion itself brings lot of grace and strength. Actually, Rama is a incarnation of the Parabrahman or the consciousness, not in its complete form, but definitely he is Avatar Purush. Uh, Now he has come for a purpose, and these monkeys, as we have discussed, are not just monkeys. They represent the celestial gods themselves, because uh, these celestial gods themselves approach Mahavishnu to come to go to earth and take care of things that are happening, because Ravana is creating lot of havoc. Along with him, there are other asuras who are all creating lot of miseries. And we know yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, he says, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So he says that whenever there is a decline in the social architecture, orderliness, I definitely will come as incarnation. ಅವತಾರ ಪುರುಷನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಧರ್ಮವನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಧರ್ಮ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ here orderliness. Everything has gone haywire. Ravana is grabbing somebody, making them somebody's wife. He will pick up, he will keep them um, uh, in his palace and make them his wife. Like that, he has acquired so many wives, and he is encouraging others like Vali. Everywhere there is a disorderliness, and that is why Rama has come. Now, along with him come the Deva Devatas in the form of monkeys, right? When we discuss Ramayana, we will discuss why in the form of monkeys and all those lot of discussion, description over there. So then these now there is a fight between the army of Rama and army of Ravana. They find their compatible matches and they start attacking each other, but in between the monkeys also become little scared and they go haywire, and then helter skelter other. Then Rama actually gives them extra power, energy, observing that. Then they get on to the extremely powerful mode, so as to destroy army of Ravana. Then comes the encounter between Rama and Ravana. Rama was given a chariot called Matali. Matali anta ಒಂದು ರಥ that was given by Indra to Ravana while he was fighting to fight this battle. So Rama ascends that chariot and proceeds towards Ravana. Ravana, he comes with in this description, he comes majestically huge and with multiple heads. There is a contradictory description about Ravana's as Dashanana, 10-headed Ravana. We all know that whether it was physically there or he had 10 different vices, negative virtues, vices, and therefore he was called Dashanana. That also has come in different commentators' description. We will get on to these depths and intricacies later when we take up Ramayana. So Ravana comes, and description is with his 10 heads, he comes there as per Bhagavad Purana, and Rama also proceeds, and the battle that follows is very well described in Valmiki Ramayana. Yuddha Kanda it is called. It was so, I should say, so much violent, with lot of arrows and storming battle between these two, because how they have described is Ravana is also not an ordinary person. With every arrow that Rama throws, Rama had the blessings and he actually had Brahmastra itself, but he did not directly use it. He has used number of other weapons, and the Ravana also had neutralizing arrows. ಅದು ಎರಡು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ they created an artificial sky ante, because they neutralized each other, so they just got interlocked like this, and everything, the sky was filled with these arrows given by both the sides, and namely mainly by Ravana and Rama, and it created a lot of fumes and smoke and muddy vapors and so many things. They have described in I think maybe so many 100 shlokas it describes like that, actual Valmiki Ramayana. As I went through, I could not read word by word, and we don't have to go in depth right now. So that was a very fearful battle between Rama and Ravana. So Asuri Buddhi, no, if you think they are as powerful. Rama is Avatara Purusha. Ravana was empowered with his tapas, with his penance, with his blessings by Brahma himself, and his own willpower. We discussed in Bhagavad Gita, no, Dhruti. This is Tamasika Dhruti. Dhruti means willpower, fortitude. We discussed in Bhagavad Gita that willpower is also of three types. One is Satviki Dhruti, another one is Rajasika Dhruti, third one is Tamasika Dhruti. Dhruti and the ability, that willpower to do something, to attain something. ಈ ಬಿಡಲಾರದೆ Bhakta Prahlada also had Dhruti, Ravana also had a Dhruti, Hiranyakashipu also had a Dhruti, Dhruva also had a Dhruti. Bhishma also had, but it depends on what was their intent. So here also, Ravana had so much of willpower, he had uh, acquired that much of power that he could give a panga to Ram himself, and this was what was probably shown. Ramanige ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ he would have killed Ravana. But probably he wanted to demonstrate the whole design of this Leela was like that, to show that Asuri Buddhi also equally powerful, sometimes more powerful. And I keep repeating this. Even in the Durga Saptashati, they say the Asuras had become so powerful at a time in the Purana that they had to invoke Chandi. They had to invoke that Durga, to whom all the Devatas give their bit of strength, including Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and they made that power of Parabrahman. And only then she attacks the Shumba, Nishumba, all those Raktabijasura and all those people. So Asuri Buddhi ಅವನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ತಾಕತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it went on and on and on. Of course, they say 1 or 2 hours ಅವಾಗಿನ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. And then finally Rama's Brahmastra kills Rakshasa. He starts vomiting. It goes into his abdomen. He vomits and he falls flat. Only hundreds of his wives come running and crying, beating their chest. ಎದಿ ಎದಿ ಬಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ. They were feeling so devastated that even nodir Asura, anybody would have felt happy. But you understand the commitment that in that yuga, Treta Yugadalli, Pati Parameshwar, Pati Devata, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇರ್ಲಿ, that was the norm at that time. That need not be considered as the norm in all the yugas, because today's generation will definitely, they will not accept and they will rebel and they will start trolling. That's not the norm now. Those days that was like that, and these people followed. But they start screaming and they start telling, alas, you left us like this, and had you listened to us without harming other women, following the path of virtue, following Rama, you wouldn't have had this end. We wouldn't have been left like this on roads. ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಳ್ತಾರೆ. They lament so much, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಸ್ಟ್. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅದೇ ಕಾಂಚನನೇ ಕಾಮನೂ ಇತ್ತು, ಅಕ್ವೈರಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ದ ಅಧಿಪತಿ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್. ಪೃಥ್ವಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರಾಜ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆರ್ ಎವರ್ ಹಿ ಗೋಸ್, ಹಿ ಪುಲ್ಸ್ ದೋಸ್ ವಿಮೆನ್, and helpless women come to him and they get married to him. They were forced to get married and they became their wives. So this has brought your death and you have left us also helpless ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ nothing can be done. So now Rama goes to Sita and he becomes very compassionate and she weeps. She is seen as a very, very lean lady because she wouldn't have had food, mental stress. Adrinda, he finds her very, very exhausted and very lean girl, and he hugs her and shows his love and affection, and then he brings her back. Ali Vibhishana who's brother of Ravana, he's made, coronated as the king of Lanka. Actually, Lanka is acquired by Rama, but Rama doesn't want to become the king because he is not, he already is a king, he's going back now, 14 years, going back as a king. He wants to make Vibhishana he makes him as a king. And Vibhishana before that performs all the ceremonies for Ravana because he's his brother. But Vibhishana was devotee of Rama. He was on this side of the army. He was not supporting Ravana because he knew what Ravana was doing was wrong. I mean, Alli Nodri, how nicely they have shown. Lakshmana also follows Rama. Obviously, Rama has to be followed. Vibhishana, any brother should follow the elder brother anta dharma alva ಅದು. Younger should follow the elders, younger should follow the parents. But he knows that this fellow is following adharma. And therefore he gets out of it while Kumbhakarna continues. But Ravana's wives still follow that dharma. Whatever it is, he is Pati Parmeshwar. But Vibhishana comes out of that. I just because he is my elder brother, I cannot support him. I follow Rama ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು. So Rama gives him the power to take care of Lanka, and then they get on to the Pushpaka Viman. Pushpaka Viman andre ಅವಾಗ ಇತ್ತದು helicopter. It was there. How it worked, find out. Anybody knows how did it work? Who drove it? What was the fuel? So in that Pushpaka Vimana, he comes and maybe there were, because many of the aerospace engineers have got dug to the scriptures and found. I had seen in some post, I don't know whether it was on Facebook or WhatsApp, long back, the design of Pushpak Viman. So they were trying to see, what suggestions we can take, or what, how can we take lead from the such designs. They found the design of this aircraft, So he gave Vibhishana, and then he granted a boon to Vibhishana that you will have a long life till end of the kalpa, long life, end of this kalpa. Thus, he finishes his 14 years of exile, Rama, and returns back to Ayodhya. Now, as he comes through Pushpak Vimana, yarar bartare, Ram bartane, Sita, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Hanuman, Vibhishana also accompanies them. So, as they come, Bharata becomes very excited. But Bharata, how he has spent 14 years, just like his brother. He has kept those padukas, his slippers, on the throne, and then he lives in Nandigram. From there, he is he's ruling his kingdom on behalf of representing Ram, and he would not wear royal clothes. He would wear bark of trees, sleeps on bare floor, eats just the barley cooked in cow's urine. That's what is given here. Cow's milk, cow's urine, whatever, if you think that way. That means he lived the life of an ascetic, just like Sri Ram. This is the commitment these brothers had towards Ram. He deserved, very well deserved. So Bharata was like that in Nandigram. The minute he hears the news, he becomes so excited. He starts from his residence to receive Ram, and accompanied by ministers, because anyway he is a king. So all the ministers gather, all the rishis gather, because it's a very moment of great excitement to receive Rama back to Ayodhya. And they would have heard stories about all this abandoning, Sita being picked up by Ravan, Rama going there and attacking him and rescuing her back. All that news they would have got. So they accompany chanting Vedic mantras and all that. They receive Rama and accompany him back to the Ayodhya from Uttara Koshala, they say. So, illi beautifully they have described. Hanuman holds that umbrella. As Ram walks towards the palace, Hanuman holds the umbrella, and Shatrughna, ಈಗ Ram idane, Lakshmana, Bharata carries the paduka on his head, his chappals, the wooden footwear of Rama, he carries on his head, and Shatrughna carries his bow and arrow. Sita carries Ram's kamandalu, water vessel iratala, water bottle. Those water bottles were made of metal with a lid, right? And that they used to carry to store water. ಅದನ್ನ ಅವಳು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾಳಂತೆ. Then Angada carried his sword, and Jambavan carried his shield, and Sugriva and Vibhishana, they carried the chauris. Chauris andre these fans. So Sugriva and Vibhishana are blowing that mild air, fanning him, and Hanuman carries umbrella. So ಎಷ್ಟು beautifully everybody is eager to show one or the other service to their beloved Lord, and they all know he is Vishnu incarnate. But what happens when there is familiarity, we tend to forget. But they have lot of regards for him. So they continue like that. And as they come to the home, Rama enters, and first he goes and meets his mothers and stepmothers. So the father is no more. We have discussed that. I think Dasharatha is no more now. And so only the mothers are there. Our mothers, Ishtu, they were so lifeless because Ram and Lakshman are in the forest. Shatrughna is leading a life of ascetic in Nandigram. And there's only Bharat is leading there, and only Shatrughna is there now. So they were so lifeless. Now, as soon as they see Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Sita, and all these Bharat, everyone, now the palace is filled with so much of joy. They get back to their senses. They describe just as the senses become alive with prana. Yesterday we were discussing, prana is a life force which drives the senses into action. So like that, they get that prana and they become so active. They, cry, and then they hug. They express their emotions. 14 years, imagine if we have not seen our children. One evening ಬರ್ದೇ ಹೋದ್ರೆ we give a call, mobile phone ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೇಳ್ಬಾರ್ದೇನೋ, ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದೇನೋ, why are you not picking up the call, ನಾವೇನ್ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, so much we keep, cribbing. And here these mothers have left the sons for 14 years, and after 14 years, imagine how happy they must have been. So they all do that, and then what happens is, then they now this is actual coronation, no? Avaga Rama's coronation was to happen, and on the same day he left for exile, as per Kaikeyi. Now, a actual coronation should happen, and these people, they ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡವರಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ, they take their sons on their lap and they give them bath ante, because they have missed that so many years, So they do all kind of pampering to shower all their love and pamper their kids. They show that, they have described that. And now bathed, dressed in silk, decorated with so many ornaments, Ram, along with all his brothers, they come, and they follow this all these proceed ceremonies. Again, Vashishta will be there. He will coronate, he will coronate, and then Rama starts ruling. How was it? Rama Rajya. That is what Mahatma Gandhi also used to tell, no? When he was king, there were no worries in the kingdom. People were very happy. Happiness index, and even today, there are lot of surveys happen. No? Anybody which is the happiest country? I think Finland. Anybody? Anybody knows?
Yes, ma'am. Finland it is.
Finland. Finland is supposed to be happiest country. India has lot of spiritual inheritance, but happiness score is less. I don't know whether the scale or the questionnaire which they have used, the tool is wrong, or we really are unhappy. I don't know.
Scale is biased.
Biased. Mallikarjun, what did you say?
Yes, ma'am. They are showing Iran and Pakistan
Come back again,
above
Mallikarjun. Scale is not correct.
like, yes, ma'am. It is biased. It is produced by Western media, from newspapers. News ನೋಡಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಹೌದಾ? Did they mention that? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. ಅಂದ್ರೆ like Palki Sharma,
She told
she
that.
mentioned. Yes, ma'am.
Very good, very good. I was
ಅಂದ್ರೆ like
expecting.
Pakistan or Iran, war waging countries, like poverty driven, they are having higher ranks than us.
Higher happiness. Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It
Even
may be
Afghanistan has got a higher ranking.
higher. Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is very interesting topic you brought out. Happiness score depends on the type of tool they use, isn't it? And ಈಗ Afghanistan, Pakistan, by and large, if we consider them as tamasic, the Krishna, next we are going to discuss about types of happiness actually. Very interesting. But overall, Indians, if you take mostly, if you see it, so many countries, with pride we can say Sattvic people are more in India, countries like India, Japan, I would say. Actually, Japan probably should have been happier state, than happier country than Finland, maybe. Japan, then compared to Pakistan and all, they cannot be. I mean, for them that may be happiness. Killing, murdering, ಅದೇ happiness ಇರ್ಬೋದು. True happiness ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ, yes, true happiness scale. Each one will have his own scale of true happiness. And if we go by Sanatan Dharma, I think the Vedanta, the happiness scale should be what is defined in Bhagavad Gita. Next session of Gita, we are having this discussion on what is true happiness, what is should be considered, because everlasting, sustaining, no worries. Andre, the happiness that comes out of Sattvika practices, that is true happiness. Sattvika practices is when there is selflessness, when there is fearlessness, when we put others before our own, our own selfish desires. We put a lot of effort. We consider we are not the doer, not expecting, no attachment. These are all Sattvika guna. So, idu maybe highest, maybe these are all not to be attained by average people, even in India. But by and large, if you see, no, there are more people who are helping, more people who have understood this Vedantic concept of happiness. So, India cannot be an unhappy country if it is defined well. So, you have given me the right this thing. So, even but having said that, compared to what it was in Treta Yuga, we have deteriorated. Bhagavad also says that. Yakandre, as I said, the dharma, nyaya, niti, all this has come down. People's Kali Yuga is like that. But Kali Yuga is for the entire world. It is not only for India. But that time, the world was only one. This whole thing, Rama Raja, Rama ruled the entire world. So that time, the world was happy. There were no worries. There were no sorrows, no depression. And death came, this is what it says, I'm reading, only when one wished Ichha Marana. Andre Ashtun evolved because this Raghuvamsha, Rama, came very close, early evolution, early creation from Brahma. And so much of truth and dharma, nyaya, everything was there. And when everything is there, the environment also will be functioning. There will be a lot of symbiosis in humans and other species and non-living things. Non-living andre, the water and the air, everything, ecosystem will be very much in a balanced state. So you will have abundant water, abundant vegetation, abundant food supply, and there is no jealousy, there is no unhealthy competition, because Rama's vibrations, they were there. He was very much there. But still they say, before that was Krita Yuga. Krita Yuga came before Rama. ಸೊ ಅವು ಮೊದಲೇ 3 ಅವತಾರಗಳು ಯಾವ್ದು ಅವಾಗ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಅದರ್ ಮನೂಸ್ ಬರ್ತೆ. That time it was still higher, it seems. Can you imagine that? This itself, he lived observing Ekapatni Vrata, single consort. Many others could marry. He did not. He did not opt for more than one consort, though he went through hell actually, if you consider separation. ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳು he remained single, because as we see further. So this was his again dhruti, determination, willpower, that I will not marry. Mentally, physically, he was not attracted to any other woman other than Sita. Adu brahmacharya itself gives so much of power. Brahmacharya itself, it spreads so many vibes. Apart from that, he was Avatara Purusha, and he was an embodiment of all the dharmic principles, and therefore he was a big attractant, I should say. And following him, the entire Prajagalu, all the citizens followed him. And Sita, she lived by her humility, and she understood her husband's mind, very loving and devoted, ungrudging, and good behavior, modesty, because of which there was a great understanding between husband and wife. Great understanding between husband and wife, which I think should come now. starting across all generations. This understanding and bondage, no, Ram Sita's bondage, we should read more and more about that and try to bring, because in today's world, everything becomes analytical, everything is judged. Why I should follow, why I should not follow, should I follow, should I not follow, analyzing, being judgmental, revolting, rebelling, both sides it happens. If you read more about Ram Sita, that I am very much impressed, like Krishna's thing which we go in 10th Ramayana, we should take it very seriously. Very very deep psychology and implementable behavior, not difficult, because both were humans on earth. He also cried, he also fought, he also followed, but he had tremendous, he demonstrated as a human, it is a possibility to develop so much of willpower for the welfare of the people, for the welfare of others. That selflessness only brought about this kind of Ramaraj, this kind of Ramaraj. And once he decided to follow his father's words, his father's promise, never he looked back and never he cribbed also. Rather, he snubbed his brother Lakshmana and Bharata whenever they used to talk bad about either their father or mother. He used to tell, no, never we should speak. Because they are our parents, and parents are parents, that's all. No question asked. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನು, ಇದನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ದಿಸ್ ದೇ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೂ, ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ದೇ ಡಿಡ್. ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ವಿ ಟಾಕ್ actually, negative about our parents. Parents' responsibility is not so much as we expect actually. They janma kotmel mugitu. Little bit they will take care, food, shelter, everything. Beyond that, we are not supposed to. I'm speaking from what I heard from commentators. And so, for every role in this society, there is a direction given, guidance in Ramayana. We all should read properly. So, Valmiki Ramayana could be another next round which we could take up. Lots and lots to learn. While Bhagavad Gita talks about hypotheses and principles, Ramayana talks about implementation of that. And as humans, if they could do, we can do. We are also made of the same flesh, same brain, same possibilities. We can very well do that. So Sita and Ram are ideal couple, I mean, they were so united in their thoughts, alignments, and agreeing to each other, let go of certain things. If anybody was there in Sita's place, tell me, wouldn't she crib? I got married, I came from such a big, nice, royal family, and you took me to the forest and I had to, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಮಸ್ಕಿಟೋಸ್ ಕಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹುಳುಗಳು, ಎಷ್ಟಿದು, the kind of food she used to have, kind of bed she had, kind of life she led every day in security. So, and 14 years, imagine, young girl, all her youth, she spent in that place. Anybody could have said, no, enough, I am done with you. I am done with you. These are the words. ಬ್ರೇಕಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡೋರು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. 14 years ಬಿಡು, 14 days they will not spend. But the higher goal was there. ಆ maturity she had understood the purpose why Ram is doing. Divine purpose ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು. I have not gone into that depth. Her goal was to follow dharma, her responsibility, her duty to follow her husband. That's all she did. Then she goes through a lot of turbulences in her life. Now what happens? They come, he rules like that, everybody is happy. And then what happens is, once he does a big sacrifice, yajna ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅವಾಗ. ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, I don't know the background behind this, but he starts giving land to different priests, He gives as a gift eastern region of his kingdom. Big land he gives to priest Hota anta obba priest, Brahmana, who's helping him to do the yajna, sacrifice. Southern region he gives to the priest Brahma. Priest anta obba Brahma anta priest irtaranta. Western parts he gives to Advaryu anta. And the northern to the chanter Saman, Udgata. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನಂತೆ ದಾನವಾಗಿ. Then the middle part, he says somebody who's so selfless, and he gives this to his own preceptor, that is Vashishta. ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, he had very little for him, his brothers, his family, and he tries to manage on his own, but these people will refuse. And then they say, nothing doing, this is to be used by you and your family, you deserve it ಅಂತ they give back that which is given to them as gifts and charity. Then what happens is, ಈಗ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಸೀತಾನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. He is going on rounds, in disguise, to get feedback about his how is he performing ಅಂತ. ಆವಾಗ give me one moment. So he gives, as he goes in disguise, what happens is he hears, all this, isn't it? He overhears one of his citizen, washerman, he is scolding his wife. So we are talking about Satyuga Ramaraja, but we cannot say that it was 100%. Allinu ganda henti bayodu. Everybody is not like Ram. Majority are good, and even these people who are bad also are not that bad. Andre, if the ruler practices some, Sri Ramakrishna ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, the leader should practice 10 times what he expects his subordinates to practice. If you want others to speak the truth, then they may speak here and there, they may speak lies, that's okay, but you should never speak lie. If you want them to speak truth, if you want them to be honest, you should be 10 times that. If you want them to speak softly, you should always speak, never ever you should deviate. ಹಂಗೆ ರಾಮಂದು ಫುಲ್ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದಿತ್ತು ಮೆರಿಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದರದ್ದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇತ್ತು, ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ one fellow was telling his wife that I am not Rama. He says, you have lived in somebody's residence, I cannot accept you. Don't expect me to be like Rama, who can accept Sita, who lived with Ravana for 1 full year. Still he accepted ಅಂತ. Actually speaking, ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. So Rama, all of you know the story. He comes back to his palace, gives lot of thought to this. What should I do ಅಂತ. Actually, ಅವಳು ರಾವಣನ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ Sita is subjected for Agni Pariksha, it seems. And then she is tested. She is asked to go through that Agni, and she comes out as a pure woman. So Ram has every reason to say, and that Agni Pariksha also was not for him, to just just to show the world that my Sita is pure. Avanige ittu, he had full confidence, he never doubted her loyalty. He knew 100% Sita, my Sita will not be she will not deviate anta. But still he conducted a Agni Pariksha and she proved it. But adana ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ people did not believe. They said no, she has lived there ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು they tell that she is impure. And then Rama now thinks, and he is in dilemma, that on one hand he is this part has become very debatable, and then he thinks that now it is my wife, correct, but I am answerable as a king to many, and I must show them that I value your feedback and I act accordingly anta. He calls Lakshmana and he says, you have to take Sita and take her to the forest, leave her in Valmiki ashram, because these people of Ayodhya want me to abandon her. So this part of Rama is called Maryada Purusha. Maryada, the Raja Maryada. People may say, what kind of a husband he is? Why should he be bothered? He can do that. If he was an ordinary person, he need not bother. If he was another washerman and his wife had gone somewhere and come back, and this washerman A tells, I am not that washerman B who has allowed his wife I'm not going to take you. Andre washerman B need not abandon. He will tell, take care of yourself. Ninni nodko munche. Don't come and interfere. Whatever you want, you don't. But here, Rama is the king. He is ruling everybody. He cannot ignore the feedback given by his people. Therefore, he takes that stand and he sends her. Abandon means he will not drop her. There also he shows his responsibility. He ensures that he leaves her, but she enters into a safe environment because she's pregnant at that time. So he tells Lakshmana, go and drop her at the entrance of Valmiki's hermitage, and you observe whether sage Valmiki will come and receive. Don't leave that ashram till that point. You hide and you see. Once sage Valmiki takes her inside, then you come back. Andre, he has not given up the responsibility of a protector of his wife also, Papa. And how much of turmoil he must have gone through. On full life, Papa, suffering, mental suffering. What did he gain? He went out, he came back, he sent her. But he did not deviate. He cries, but he will again come back and performs his dharma. Yesterday we told dharma is duty. So duty as a king, duty as a husband, both he did not mind. But there had to be a sacrifice from Sita's end also, Rama's end also. So Sita will not be knowing, El karkond bandi Ram, Lakshmana, El karkond bandi. You wanted to see the woods, no? After a long time, you lived in the woods and you were missing them. Therefore, I have brought her. So he drops her there. He says, I'll just come ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ that this is Rama's order and I'm doing that. Quietly, she will accept. And Valmiki takes them inside. Valmiki, there she delivers. Lava and Kusha are born. And then they grow there. And then what happens is Sita come Amele. After some few years, the children grow. And they come singing Ramayana to Rama's palace. And then he comes to know that they are children, his children, and then he accepts them. But in the meanwhile, once again, he will subject her for Agni Pariksha again. At that point of time, she says, enough. Now I don't want to be in this world. Anta heli, she goes, praise Mother Earth, and they say the earth opens, and then she goes into that. This is what has been told. We will discuss more the hidden meaning of all this. Now that ends, that comes to the end of Rama's story. Now what happens is these Kusha and Lava, these are two sons of Rama. Likewise, Lakshmana had another Angada Chitraketu. His name is also Angada. And Bharata had Taksha Pushkala, not so famous in the Puranas. Shatrughna had Subahu and Shrutasena. And so what happens is, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಶತ್ರುಘ್ನ establishes famous city called Mathura. ಆಮೇಲೆ ರಾಮ after Sita leaves, she goes departure. He continues for 13,000 years and he remains alone. He will not get married even after Sita leaves. He performs Agnihotra without the aid of wife and other, that is Homa. He performs for 13,000 years for the welfare of his kingdom and his people. Idella ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ then Bhagavata describes Kusha's lineage. Kushan's maklu, mammaklu, and 80 people, generations, they describe 80 to 90. I will not read the names. Not 18, about 30, 40 they have given. And then last in that Kusha's clan was Brihad Bala. Idu elli bartade andre, now Shukacharya is telling the whole Bhagavata to Parikshit. Parikshit yaro? Last person in Pandava Kuru dynasty. He is born to Arjuna's great grandson. So avunu Parikshit, he is listening to the whole story. No, he says, your father Abhimanyu was killed by Brihad Bala. So this is Solar dynasty. Brihad Bala was in the Kauravas team. So he was slain by your father. Sorry, Abhimanyu slains Brihad Bala. Your father has slain Brihad Bala, who is descendant of Kusha. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ they say these are all the rulers of ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ, ಸೂರ್ಯವಂಶಿಗಳು. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೂರ್ಯವಂಶಿಗಳು. ಇಕ್ಷ್ವಾಕು, ವೈವಸ್ವತಮನು ಇಕ್ಷ್ವಾಕು, ಇಕ್ಷ್ವಾಕುನ ಮಂಧಾತ, ಸಾಗರ, ಭಗೀರಥ, ರಘು. ರಘು's grandson is ಅಜ, ಅಜಾ's son was ದಶರಥ, ದಶರಥ son is ರಾಮ. ಸೊ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ವೈವಸ್ವತಮನು ಇಕ್ಷ್ವಾಕು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. Now that ends the story of this clan, and the line of Ikshvaku in this line ends with Sumitra anta last person helidare. And for with this king this dynasty will perish in the age of Kali. Will perish anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. That's because ಇನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯುಗ ಬಂದಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. End of that Dwapara Yuga is this discussion, because Shuka is telling Parikshit. ದ್ವಾಪರ ಯುಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಆಗಿದ್ದು, ತ್ರೇತಾ ಯುಗದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಮ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು. So in Dwapara Yuga now, end of Dwapara Yuga, Shuka is telling Parikshita, that is a Bhagavad Purana we are talking about. And that is being narrated by, again, Shaunaka Adi Munigalu hogi Suta Puranikara hatra kelkondu ಕೂತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, right? So that has happened very recently, okay? So don't get confused. Now they talk about Nimi anta. Very interesting now. Innobba Ikshvaku, then Mandata, Sagara, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ. So adondu clan. Ikshvaku has another son called Nimi. So Nimi, he is also doing one sacrifice ante. Vashishthru avagu idru ಅವರು. So this is a parallel, another dynasty which is happening, but very interesting story. So Nimi was doing a sacrifice ante. Vashishthra told, I will help you, but I have to attend Indra's one more appointment I have got. So I'll finish that and come. Anta antare. Nimi has kept silent. He went, and Vashishthra did not come for a very, very long time anta. Nimi ankoltane, life is very short. Who can I keep waiting? If anything happens to me, anta, he will start continuing the sacrifice. Vashishthra returns after his appointment with Indra. There also there was another sacrifice happening. So alli mugiskond bartare. Then he will become very angry. You didn't wait for me anta. He will curse. He will say, you arrogantly continued, and so may your body fall down dead anta ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶಾಪ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. Vashishthra curses Nimi. Nimi is also not less. ಅವನಿಗೂ ಪವರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. He also counter curses ante. You also who have got greed, because you had to go to Indra, no, you will get your share anta. So you also fall dead. So Nimi abandons, and Vashishthra, leaving the present body, was born as a son of Mitra and Varuna. He is born as a son of Mitra and Varuna. Illi ಒಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಈ Nimi is a very powerful king, and the priests, no, they cannot discontinue because the sacrifice is going on. Vashishthra comes and curses. So these people continue the curse, and the Devatas continue the sacrifice. The gods and goddesses will come, it seems, and they will say, let Nimi get back his life anta. But Nimi, being aware in his subtle body, he says, disembodied Nimi says, I don't want this body. I know it is very temporary. Release me from this. Don't call me back to become alive anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾನಂತೆ Nimi. ಆಮೇಲೆ then what happens is, he says, wise men do not desire for a body, knowing that they have to leave. And those who go at the feet of Hari, they are the wiser people. I don't want to come. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ Devas will give him a boon. Very interesting it is. Even without your body, you may reside in the eyelids of human beings. In the eyelids, Nimi is living, it seems. That means whenever we blink, it is Nimi's blink. We should take it like, maybe that is why Nimisha, blink, Nimisha, one Nimisha and one blink, something like that. It may be related to the time also. He is supposed to function as the opening and eyelids of creatures whenever they blink. So Nimi lives in the eyelids anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Now what happens is, the sages, they don't want to let go of the body because ashtu powerful iರ್ತದಂತೆ. Previously also we have seen, they churn the body and churn, that all the muscles, so idu ella churn ಮಾಡಿ, they give life, and a child is born out of that. He is called as Janaka. Janaka Raja ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನೇ. As he was born of one who has abandoned the body, he got the name Vaideha. Deha is body. Vai andre bittiddu anta. Vaideha. Janaka is Vaideha. He is father of Sita. It's Vaidehi avಳ ಹೆಸರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ as his birth took place by manthana or churning, he came to be known as Mithila. He is also known as Mithila. His city is also known as Mithila. So Nimi's body, from his body they churn out and bring Janaka. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಜನಕನೊಳಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪವರ್ ಇದೆ. Spiritual, he is considered to be one of the advanced spiritual sadhaka, who is considered as an example for all the householders, those who are into some activity. Being a king, he was a most detached king. He performed excellently as a king, most detached. And Ashtavakra Gita is conversation between him and Ashtavakra. Very beautiful. Janaka has got a very big name in our Vedanta. So only Janakana, they describe his dynasty. So many, it becomes more than 70-80 here, and their dynasty flourished, and kings of Mithila were very well versed in the knowledge of Atman. They were totally detached householders, that they were graced by a great sage called Yajnavalkya. You have heard, I think. Yajnavalkya, Gargi, Maitreyi were his wives, if you have heard. Greatest, what I should say, very well-known, well-read women of those days. They were not Maitreyi, Gargi. Gargi is his wife. Maitreyi is also, I'll come back to you, but Yajnavalkya's time, Gargi, Maitreyi were there. Lot of discussions, lot of debates, excellent, time it was. And DVG, I think, he has written Maha Yajna something, more series bರ್ತದೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕ. I have read about it. One full novel is there, Maharushi or something in Kannada. Long back. Mahabrahmana,
Brahmana, Mahakshatriya.
Mahakshatriya, correct indira. Mahabrahmana, Mahakshatriya, ಇನ್ನೊಂದದ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. ಇವ ಮಹಾಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ, ಇವ ಯಜ್ಞವಲ್ಕ್ಯ. ಏನು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಗಾರ್ಗಿ ಮೈತ್ರೇಯಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವರು his wives, I think. One was a intellectual wife, another one was just a follower, something like that it was. So Mahabrahmana, Mahakshatriya, ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿದೆ. ನೀವು ಓದಿರಿ ಅದನ್ನ? Have you read that? Very interesting novel. We should now, if you read, you will appreciate that. So Yajnavalkya, he was a guru for this clan. There ends one. Now comes another one, lunar dynasty. One more interesting story, and then we wind up. So here Pururavas anta, lunar andre Chandravamsha. So illi it starts from Atri, Brahmana Manas Putra, Atri. From Atri was born Soma. This was without any, no woman over there. From his tears, singular describe ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. They could create, they had the power of creation. From Atri was born Soma, or moon, Chandrama, moon deity, and Brahma made Chandra as a master of Brahmanas and the vegetations, herbage and stars. Moon became the master of all the stars, of all the herbs, and also Brahmanas. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Soma became powerful and he performed several Rajasuya Yajna, but he became very arrogant. Avagale there was another Rishi called Brihaspati, again created by Brahma. Brihaspati at that time had married Tara. This Tara Mandodari bere, our Tara. This Somanu ishtu powerful ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ನಂತೆ, he abducted Tara. Soma, he abducted Tara. ಬೃಹಸ್ಪತಿ ಋಷಿಗಳವರು, ಕುಲಗುರು ಅವರು, ದೇವತೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಗುರು ಬೃಹಸ್ಪತಿ. And his wife only this Soma has abducted. Brihaspati became very angry and he approaches other kings and all that. Now Brihaspati is the king, guru of Devas. Shukracharya is the guru of Asuras. Shukracharya he became very active. Enemy's enemy, best friend. Brihaspati is his enemy. Brihaspati's enemy now becomes Soma. So he makes friends with Soma and he supports Soma. There will be a big fight between Soma and Brihaspati. Soma is accompanied by Shukracharya from Asura's side. Brihaspati gets support from Rudra and others. ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ among the good people only there is fight, no? So Angirasa anta obru rishi hogi Brahmaniಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, you sort it out. Then Brahma says, Soma, give back Brihaspati's wife back to him. Anta. Then he brings her, and Soma, Brihaspati nodtane, she's pregnant. Tara is pregnant. Now, just like this, what we were discussing just now. She is Brihaspati's wife, but she has entered Soma's kingdom for so many days or months, and now she's coming back pregnant. Who's the father of this child? Anta bantala. ಅವಳು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡಲ್ಲ. She will be very avoiding. Then Brahma calls her and tells, you have to tell. Then she says, Soma is the father of this child. So, though she is married to Brihaspati, those days also it happened. She went to Soma, and the child born, very brilliant. He is called Buddha. Buddha and the planet idella. Buddha, which is the planet equivalent English term?
Mercury, ma'am.
Mercury. Buddha
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
first one, na? First one, no? Next to Sun. Mercury is the first one. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Buddha, yeah, I think Mercury. So we don't know how to relate scientifically, but Buddha is son of Soma, born to Tara, and he becomes very, very intelligent guy. And Buddha marries one lady called Ila, and to them is born Puraravas. Puraravas ante. Then Puraravas, there is a very different story only. Puraravas gets attracted to Urvashi, and from Urvashi he has so many children, and from them comes the Parshurama, that we shall discuss later. Now Buddha is so that for today we will end at Pururavas marrying Urvashi. ಅದೇನೇನೋ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆನೇ ಇದೆ ಅದು. Some deviation is there. We'll not get into those details. But interesting point is Pururavas becomes obsessed with Urvashi, her physical attributes. So much obsessed that in between she disappears, then again he prays. Throughout his life of several thousand years, ಅವನು ಯಾಗ ಯಜ್ಞ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಫಾರ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಉರ್ವಶಿ. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದ ಅವನ ಜೀವನ. See how beautiful Bhagavad describes. On one side, we have people like Nimi, we have people like, great, like Rama and all. In lunar dynasty, more of romances are happening. In lunar dynasty, more of this is happening. So Pururavas gets obsessed, and they say at the end of the Treta Yuga, the Vedas, initially there was no Varna, there was only one Veda was there. Of course, Valmiki, Veda Vyasa classifies them into 4 Vedas, but here also there is some description of how Veda, and it was in the beginning of Treta Yuga that one Veda became 3 by the action of Pururavas. We'll see later in the next session. So that ends. Now, one question I was having when I read about Buddha, no? So Buddha is a planet. Scientifically, what is the function of planet? And spiritually, what is the function of planet? I was just exploring out of curiosity. So Chandra, moon, Buddha, and all that, no? 2 explanations are there. In general knowledge I'm saying. I don't have an evidence, but generally the role of planets is to protect the earth. Physically, they say, I read about from astrophysics point of view, these planets, they have big gravitational strength, energy. So because of that, they protect the earth and all planets in their orbits as they move around, that what is that called as they revolve around the sun. So that orbits and those areas, that part of it is protected from asteroids and other external elements from entering. Now, in the psychology also, some people say, and they have tremendous, because of that gravitational force, which varies even in the moon. You can see the high tide and low tide happening on the sea during the various phases of moon, isn't it? When there is Amavasya, no moon day, or full moon, no moon day, there is high tide, I think, and the opposite. So they have an influence on the earth. These planets, including the moon and the stars, they have physical influence is there. Apart from that, sometimes they say that the effect is so much that in a schizophrenic person, no, their psychology, their hallucinations and the positive symptoms, they tend to fluctuate with the different days of this lunar month. Their mind and their psychology or buddhi or the anxiety ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. Psychologically also there is an impact of planets. Physically also they protect. Probably these are interlinked. Very interesting thought. Interesting it is the influence of planets on the human physics as well as the psychology. You, if anybody is interested, you can read. So that completes today's session. Great was Rama's story. Now slowly we get on to the after Rama, what all happened, and another 2 sessions we'll finish this 9th canto. 10th is Dashamaskanda, is Krishna avatar, very beautiful. So we'll take it up. All right, thank you. Anybody wants to add anything?
Yeah, that's why these people who are mad,
Yes,
I mean, the psychiatric patients are called lunatics, no?
Lunatics, yes, madam. They are called lunatics. It comes, we can't ignore, no, the lunar influence. In fact, my husband is a hypnotist, madam.
I say.
Very, it's an, I don't know, it's an occult science, I think. Not very